Like, was it well written and fun and interesting to read? Absolutely. But was it weird? Yes. Yes, it was. Side note, I am shooting this video in front of my window, so that's why the lighting is going like up and down. But I don't have anywhere else to do it, so this is what you got today. I just read one of the strangest and most unique books I have ever read in my entire life. This is going to be a spoiler review because I don't really know how to review this book without spoiling it a little bit. I came across Sky Daddy by Kate Folk on Pinterest, I believe. This book follows Linda, and Linda, on the outside, she seems like a normal woman. She's 30 years old. She lives in the Bay Area. She works at a social media content moderation company, and she's doing okay. Like, she's a normal person. But on the inside, it's a little different because Linda has an emotional, romantic, and sexual attraction to airplanes. This is something she's had her entire life since the first time she ever rode on a plane with her family. She 100% understands that her obsession and fixation on airplanes is not normal. So she does a really good job of hiding it. She doesn't really date, and she does the best that she can to just be normal. This all kind of changes when she gets invited by her coworker and friend Karina to the VBB, which is the Vision Board Brunch. And this is a brunch that a group of women get together every quarter and present their vision boards. So most of the women have things like babies and marriage and normal people things to put on their vision board. So when Linda's invited, she's like, the only thing I want to do is marry a plane and be with a plane. And that's it. So how do I put this on the vision board but not be seen as a crazy person to all of these new girls that I want to be my friends? So she ends up just putting, airplanes and pilots and that kind of thing on her board, things that she can pretend are just, normal things she wants. Like she says she wants to date a pilot and that she wants to travel more. And that makes sense to normal people, right? And honestly, after reading the entire book, I would say the vision board brunches are what really made her spiral into the psychosis that she ends up going into because things start happening in her life that she sees as a manifestation of things that she put on the vision board. For example, she puts a very particular airline CEO on the vision board and she meets him in the airport randomly. And she sees that as a sign that her vision board is working. She puts one of her bosses, Dave, on the board to symbolize making more money to be able to afford more flights. And she ends up having this really interesting relationship with him. It is a little intimate at times, but it never crosses that threshold of being an actual relationship because she has no interest in being in human relationships. And she says that multiple times in this book. The book is split into three parts, and I would say the first part of the book is about understanding who she is and how her fixation and her desire for airplanes works. And the second part of the book is her trying to be as normal as possible, to grow some of the relationships in her life, and to kind of push away her natural instinct to want to be with planes and planes only. And the third part, I would say, is her complete disillusion and fall into psychosis over wanting to marry a plane. And to her, marrying a plane means dying in a plane crash. I would say her most significant relationship throughout this book is her relationship with her coworker, Karina. Karina is an interesting character because she is with a man that is letting her down, who she is confused on whether she even really wants to be with him or whether he's cheating on her. And she has a lot going on in her life, but she's also deathly afraid of flying. Something happened when she was a kid or when she was a teenager, and she feels like karma is going to come around and get her and she's going to die in a plane crash. That's one of her biggest fears. Karina's boyfriend asks Linda to help her with her fear of flying. So Linda sees it as an opportunity to grow closer to Karina and be closer to airplanes. So she starts, trying to make her more comfortable with airplanes, and they do all these lessons, and then it builds and builds and builds to the point where her and Karina are scheduled for a flight, and they're just flying to one airport and then flying back home. As they both step onto the plane, Linda gets this overwhelming sense that she's about to marry this plane, which means this plane's about to crash. And she's like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've always wanted. I want to marry a plane, but my friend is here and she is deathly deathly afraid. I don't want her to die. So she looks at her friend who is deathly afraid of flying and is like, you need to get off this airplane. I love airplanes so much and I'm about to marry this one. And by that, I mean, it's going to go down. It's going to crash. And her friend's like, what the fuck? So her friend Karina gets off the airplane and they start having this really tenuous relationship. Karina doesn't want to talk to her because she thinks it's fucking weird that she wants to marry an airplane and die in a plane crash. I would say the biggest turning point in this entire book is when she finds the airplane that she first ever rode on with her family. She thought it was decommissioned, but she's at the airport one day and she sees it. She knows the numbers of the planes, so she knows that this is her airplane. This is the one she is meant to marry. So she decides she's going to give up all of her possessions. She is going to take everything in her bank account. Oh, wait, first, I mentioned earlier that she starts this really weird relationship with her boss, David. And during this relationship, they take plane rides together to different cities. And during one plane ride, they are doing some inappropriate things and someone records them and it goes on the internet. And it's actually their company that has to do the moderation for this. And one of her coworkers is like, hey, I found this video. I think it's of you and David. I think we should blackmail him to give us money. David says no, he's not going to be blackmailed. He just quits, but they're able to get money from the company, and Linda quits her job and gets a lump sum of money of $6,000. And she decides that she's going to quit her job and she's going to take all this money that she has in her bank account. She's going to fly on this one particular plane until it marries her, aka until it crashes. So that's what she does. She sells everything she owns. She buys her first plane ticket. She hosts the very last vision board brunch. And this is when she kind of wants to manifest the marriage between her and a plane. She makes a vision board and it is just full of plane crashes. It is the weirdest shit. And everyone at the brunch is like, bitch, this is weird. Karina's also there and she's like, after the vision board brunch, she decides that she is going to marry her plane. She starts taking flights and she goes on the first one. She's like, this is going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, she just continues to ride for a couple weeks. She doesn't shower. She doesn't go to any hotels. She stays in airport terminals only and getting on planes only. It isn't until she completely runs out of money and eating out of garbage cans in airports that Karina eventually finds her and is like, hey, like, we got to get you out of here. Like, we got to get you help. We got to get you cleaned up and we need to go home. So reluctantly, Linda's like, okay, I guess it's never going to happen for me with the airplanes. I need to just let it go. I need help, whatever. So they go to the hotel. Karina gets her all cleaned up and they're getting ready to fly home. As soon as they get onto the plane, Linda gets that feeling that she got the first time that she was on the plane with Karina. She's like, oh my God, this is destiny. Like, we're both destined to die in a plane crash. I'm destined to get married to this plane. And she looks at Karina and Karina's like, I already know. So they get on the plane. Karina sits down. It's mentioned that like Karina has this piece on her face and Linda and she hold hands and Karina keeps her eyes closed and Linda just knows that this is going to happen. Like they are about to crash. And then the last imagery that you have in the book is of the plane spiraling out of control and like black smoke billowing from the wings. And it is assumed that the plane crashes. So Linda marries the plane and Karina dies with everyone else on board. When I read that last page, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So was Linda crazy the whole time? Or were we crazy? Am I the crazy one? She does have intimacy with the planes. So she bought a piece of a 747 plane off of eBay, like a tiny piece. And when she rides airplanes, she sticks it into her pants. And then as she's riding and the vibrations of the plane continue to happen, she repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again on the plane. And that's how she makes love to the planes. I don't know what other books Kate Folk has out there, but if they're anything like this one, I'm just like, bitch, like what is going on in your head? Like, how do you even think something like this? Do you like planes? But Sky Daddy by Kate Folk, I think that if you like weird stuff, give this book a try. So if you've ever read this book, let me know what you thought about it in the comments.